My name is Alesisha Adams-Liddie. For the past 2 weeks, I've been attending the Preservice Training program organized by the Ministry of Education on the island of St. Kitts. To say the sessions were informative is an understatement. All the presentations, all of them were dynamic. They were reminders of what makes a truly good teacher. I really enjoyed all of them. We started the training session with Mrs. McDermott discussing the topic, managing interpersonal relationships. And she stressed the importance of understanding the importance of interpersonal relationship within the school system. This exists between students, teachers, parents, and the community as a whole. With good interpersonal relationship, greater employee satisfaction, better decision making between staff members, and great collaboration with parents can be enjoyed. When we have a great interpersonal relationship within the school system and within all parts of the school system, you are in a greater position to have a better impact on the lives of children. And the children are who we are supposed to be serving within the school. Now, I must thank Mr. Whitaker. He did a wonderful job of introducing us to the digital portfolio. He gave great guidance on what we must do. However, the highlight of technology within the school system was Mr. Woodley's presentation. Now, Mr. Woodley was engaging and he introduces us to some of the technologies that are found within the schools, such as the smart boards, interactive projectors, tablets, and laptops. As prospective teachers, Mr. Woodley encouraged us to use some of the software that are available within the school system and that we can use as teachers. Now, Ms. Ross and Ms. Jacobs, they impressed upon us the necessity of showcasing ourselves as teachers. They told us about the learning profiles and why it is important for us as teachers to know our students. As teachers, we answer each children differently. We deal with children differently. And each child should be treated as an individual. And why each child should be treated as an individual? That is because each child learns differently. And what methods may have worked for one child does not necessarily work for another. It is imperative for a good teacher to know and understand the curriculum. In that way, the teacher can use different methods to meet the needs of the students, thereby providing multiple pathways for learning. Mrs. Watley's topic, Teach Like a Champion, was extremely compelling. I almost forgot to take notes. She reminded me of my responsibilities to the students, and it was not dependent on the child's race, nationality, religion, or social standing. I was reminded of the importance of creating a classroom climate that was committed to positive expectations from my students. Mrs. Welch did a phenomenal job of emphasizing that all communication is emotional, and when dealing with any situation as teachers, we should begin with the end in mind. That is, we should have some idea of the outcome that we desire. As teachers, we have to practice self-responsibility, self-discipline, self-awareness, and self-remembrance. Mrs. Blake covered the topic of health and wellness in the workplace. And for me, this was extremely personal. She reminded me that health and wellness is not just physical wellness, but it has to do with mental wellness as well. As a person living with diabetes for over 25 years, physical wellness and the awareness of physical health is high on my health. But Mrs. Blake reminded me that self-care is just as important. Emotional self-care, that is. Her session reminded me that I needed to get involved in activities and to do things to ensure that my feelings are taken care of, and to realize I cannot do or control everything. To say no if something is outside of my comfort zone. I can go on and on this topic because, as I said, it was very personal for me. The enhanced curriculum within the school system is another exciting topic that was covered in great detail. With the enhanced curriculum, teachers can make use of any of the learning strategies, such as blended, remote, hybrid, or a flipped classroom. For example, in the blended strategy, teachers can make use of the traditional method as well as the digital method. With this method, information is disseminated using both means to meet the needs of the children in our care. Another major topic that was discussed was educators' rules and regulations. Mrs. Williams did a wonderful job of introducing us to the conduct and ethics of office. She encouraged us to read up on the statutes that governs teachers. She spoke to us extensively about the channels of communication within the Ministry of Education. The first line of communication is the principal, and the next step is the education officer. Then on to the Chief Education Officer, and the final step in the chain is the Teaching Service Commission. Our final session was Health and Wellness in Motion, conducted by the Early Childhood Development Unit. This session was fun and interactive. It was a physical session that involved taking part in various activities, full of a playful competition. Our Chief Education Officer was an active participant in this. That was wonderful. For me, teaching takes all of the topics that were discussed in the 2 weeks of the pre-service training. As a teacher, you are a role model, a person of social standing within the community and society as a whole. A teacher owes it to her profession to represent the fraternity of teachers at all times, whether it is in their professional or their personal life. Therefore, as a teacher, we are to dress in a manner that is becoming of a teacher. And we are not to just dress as a teacher, but our general attitude and demeanor should be one that is of respect, one of an example that everyone should follow. When you see a teacher and you look at a teacher, you should be able to look and say, she must be a teacher. Her attire should always be on point. Her attitude should always be on point, or his attitude should always be on point, because we are teachers. We are responsible for building the nation. We educate the nation, and as such, we should teach like champions. It is our duty and it is our responsibility. It is not enough to say I am a teacher and I teach math and to only go into the classroom to teach math in a boring, straightforward manner. When we teach like champions, we have to know our subject matter. We have to know it inside and out, because one approach may not necessarily work for one child, but we can use another approach as a teacher to meet the learning needs of another child. As a teacher and as a champion teacher, we must always be prepared to go the extra mile. I can remember from my experience years ago as a young teacher, I had a child who was in my care. He was an orphan. Both parents had died. His father died before he was born, and his mother died in childbirth. He lived with his grandmother, who was an elderly woman, and she was unable to take care of him. So some days he would come to school, and you would look at him and know that he did not receive a bath that morning. His lunchbox would contain the same dirty bowl from the day before. But as a teacher, I took it upon myself to get there early, to give him a bath, change his clothes, wash the clothes that he was wearing and put it to dry, wash his lunch kit and his bowls, dry them out and repack his lunch kit, so that while he's in class, he can feel as part of the group and not feel left out in any way. That was years ago. But as a teacher, you may not have to do that, but you can always find something else to do to go that extra mile, to put in that extra effort for the children that you are in charge of. Teachers are tasked to educate the nation. So it is incumbent upon teachers to keep up with the methods that are available to us. In order to effectively deliver the curriculum, we have to keep up with changes in the curriculum. We have to keep up with changes in technology. And as we know, technology is changing every single day. And we can use those technologies that are available. We can make use of the changes that are occurring to impact the delivery of our curriculum. That is imperative to us. And in order for us to do that, we ourselves as teachers, we have to learn. We have to evolve with the times. Teaching is not a one-size-fits-all. We have to find ways and means of meeting our students. Technology gives us that. In this year, 2024, with the ever-changing times, teaching as a profession must evolve and change with the times. And in order for the profession to evolve, we as teachers must evolve as well. Some of these changes are reflected in the resources that are available within the school system, such as a guidance counselor and attendance officer. When I started teaching 30-something years ago, teachers had to perform home visits. Teachers had to counsel parents. But times have changed. In these evolving times, within the school system, there are a whole array of staff that is available to assist us. Some of those are the guidance counselors. So as teachers, we can concentrate on teaching, and the guidance counselors can concentrate on the welfare of the children. That is wonderful. It impressed on me the changes that are always taking place, and I am happy, extremely happy for that. As teachers, we are urged to take care of ourselves. The ministry has system in place for the protection of teachers, provided, of course, that teachers abide by the rules. You know, we have to follow. As teachers, we expect the children to follow rules. We expect the children to follow our instructions. But as teachers, we have instructions and we have guidance that are received from the Ministry of Education, and we have to abide by those as well. And once we abide by those procedures and those systems that were put in place by the Ministry of Education, we as teachers are afforded the protection of the Ministry of Education, because as I said, these are ever-changing times, and we have violence in school, violence from parents, violence from the students that we are charged to teach. And it is good to know that the Ministry of Education cares for us, that they can put things in place, they can put systems in place to protect us. You know, because the Ministry of Education care for us, and they're taking care of us, and they have systems in place to take care of us, it is incumbent upon us as teachers to also take care of ourselves. We must take care of our mental health. We must learn to say no. We have to set boundaries between ourselves and the children that we serve. We were given tips on how to deal with stress, how to de-stress ourselves. You know, we were encouraged to have hobbies. We were encouraged to volunteer in clubs in our community, to actively participate within our communities, to help us to deal with some of the stresses that we know can occur within the classrooms. So our mental health is important to us, and we have to take care of ourselves as teachers, as persons. For me personally, all of the sessions were informative, they were interactive, they were well presented. I must stress that part. They were well presented. I enjoyed all of the discussions that took place. And if we take a little bit of what was said every day and we cloak ourselves with it, we learn it, we adapt it, eventually everything will become a part of us. We will be a whole teacher. We will be able to teach like a champion. We will be able to dress to represent our profession. We will be lifelong learners. We will evolve with technology, and these are all good things. Now, I leave these words with you. Now, we have a lawyer, and we view him as a professional. He went to school. He studied law. He studied how to practice law. He further went on and he specialized in law. He may be a divorce lawyer, a criminal lawyer, a real estate lawyer, but he is viewed as a professional because he is a lawyer and he would have studied to be a lawyer. We have doctors. They went to school and they studied to be doctors, and they are viewed as professionals. The doctor would have gone on and he would have specialized in his area of expertise. He might be an internal medicine doctor, a doctor of internal medicine. He might be a doctor of oncology. He might be a mental health doctor. But we view him as a professional. But we are teachers and we are also professionals. We enter the arena of teaching. We would have learned, we would have adopted, and we would have grown. We would have studied to be teachers. We would have gone on and specialized maybe in early childhood education, primary education, or secondary education. You may have further gone on to have your bachelor's degrees, your master's degree, or even your doctorate in education. Therefore, you are a professional as well. In the very same way that a lawyer or a doctor may have studied and qualified himself in your field, as teachers we would have studied and we would have qualified ourselves in our field. And therefore, we are ranked up there with all the other professionals. Teaching is a noble profession, and I am proud to be a teacher. I am proud to be applying to enter the family of the Ministry of Education as a teacher. And I am grateful for the training session that was conducted by the Ministry of Education. I thank you.